online, please unmute and
Can you hear
begin
me?
your comments.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'd like to thank the agency for this opportunity to speak today. My name is Barb Ballard. I am currently the director for SCID Angels for Life Foundation, where I advocate for patients with severe combined immune deficiency, usually referred to as SCID. My disclosure is that SCID Angels is a paid consultant to Mustang Bio. At one time, I was a consultant to the Cellular, Tissue, and Gene Therapies Advisories Committees also. I am the mother of a patient with X-linked SCID. My son passed away in 2019 at the age of 25. Prior to that time, he had received 3 bone marrow transplants. At the time of his passing, we had already collected stem cells from him to use for gene therapy. In his case, this was his only remaining option, and we knew this would be a rescue attempt. He passed away before we could begin the process necessary to receive his corrected cells. SCID is one of those rare diseases that is often first to be studied in clinical trials. Untreated, it is fatal by the time the patient is 2 years old. But to date, treatment is not a cure. Many SCID patients treated right after birth still lead medically complicated lives. We know that better treatments are needed, and as parents, we are willing to educate ourselves to learn about these complicated medical procedures, which could lead to a higher quality of life for our children. We approach gene therapy knowing it is not a magic wand which will take away all risk of complications, but we have seen that it can lead to healthier and longer lives for them. Of great concern to us is the fact that as these new cellular therapies try to follow the historic path previously forged by new and innovative treatments progressing to the marketplace to become standards of care, the costs associated with these cellular therapies are rising astronomically. SCID gene therapy clinical trials at the research level are showing that such therapies provide better outcomes than approved treatment options. Ironically, companies are unable to bring the products to the market due to the high costs associated with meeting newer and more quantitative evidential requirements for gaining approval. The result has been that some companies have walked away, abandoning patients who are waiting for treatment. The children shown on my slide are a handful of those waiting on the reopening of ADA SCID gene therapy after just such an occurrence. Some of these children have now been waiting 5 years. A few have not survived the wait. Some will argue that these children are in a position to continue to wait because they can be maintained using an enzyme replacement therapy, which is itself an orphan drug. The use of this drug does not come without its own complications and risks, yet because it's an orphan drug and not a cellular therapy, it is available. Why is it that there is not more financial incentive to orphan drug status when new cellular therapies, which could save the lives of those with a rare disease, are possible, but the cost to produce the therapy becomes unsustainable? Could those therapies for which assay tests are not practical be encouraged to utilize a different method to evidence successful treatment? Can we find a way to fast track these clinically successful therapies? Are we going to allow the pharmaceutical industries to walk away from these patients because the therapy is not economically viable? What about the viability of the life of a child? We all know that pharmaceutical companies are willing to invest in rare disease treatments that they feel they can expand into other more lucrative areas. How do we make sure that those patients who require a viable treatment, which cannot be expanded to other large disease groups such as cancer, are not left out? Thank you for your time.